Hi, everybody. It's Michael here from Caritas.
And kia ora, everyone. It's Justine, also from Caritas. All right. The purpose of putting this video together for you is that it is an interactive tool to support you understand the resources that have been developed for Lent. Our hope is that as you listen to the video, you pause at different points and visit the website and work through those relevant resources and then continue with the video. So it's very much an interactive video, hoping to allow you to explore the resources as you listen to us share different aspects of the program. Please feel free at any point to also reach out to Michael and I if you require more information or you would like to have a personal discussion about any of the elements or how you might like to introduce them into your school community. So this is our theme for 2025. So restoring hope, your compassion in action, kia puawai te tumanako. So this year it's all about wanting to capture the year of Jubilee, which is taking place. And as part of that, we're looking at being pilgrims of hope. And so we're hoping that this year's resources reinvigorate in all of us this journeying with Christ through Lent to be pilgrims on a journey, but more importantly, also to capture this idea of being people of hope, people of compassion, and people of love. And so we're going to journey over the 6 weeks of our Lent period. And each week, as in previous years, we have a different theme. We can see there that we start with journey. We moved into this idea of being transformed, the idea of being impactful people, having hope, love, and very importantly, coming back to this big idea about unity. We are one community, we are one people of Christ on a journey. So we're going to use our gospel stories. We're going to share different stories from our Caritas partners throughout the globe and recognizing that this year we're really looking at this idea of being part of people's journey when they're involved in challenges and struggles. We're going to show you how Caritas is there before, during, and after. Our resources are really closely aligned to our New Zealand curriculum, Tō tātou whakapono, our faith, and particularly using that achievement objective 9. So welcome to this journey with us for the next little wee while we share with you how you can use these resources in your classroom.
Fantastic. So it might be a good place to start the key resources page. So this is a double page, double-sided, and you'll notice that it's a bit of a visual overview of all the different elements to the resources. So on this first page here, you can see that when you hover over each of the visual elements, it'll actually take you to that. So if we click on one of these, like the teacher guide, it'll open it up in a new tab for you. I'll just go back to where we were. So we're going to look at all of these over the next little while. And a lot of these elements are similar to what we've had in previous years. There's no real surprises. The back side of that resources overview has, I guess, what we call our main menu. This is the main menu on the teacher guide, which we'll see soon. And it shows you what Justin was talking about before, the different theme focuses for each week. And there's a link to each of the CST principles. And of course, there's the gospel reading for each week as well. And you can see each of those on this particular side here. So I won't spend much more time on that one. Go back to the resources overview. I wonder, should we go to the teacher guide, Justine? That's a pretty good place.
Good start.
This is probably the file which is best to start with because it has pretty much everything for the for a teacher to see in terms of background stuff, all of the lesson material, as well as activities and things like that. Maybe one thing we'll point out is that you'll notice on the bottom right-hand corner, there's our navigation buttons. So you have, if you want to go to home, home will take you to what we talked about before, that main menu for each of the 6 weeks. But you can also go back and forwards. And when we get to, let's say we go to week 1, which is journey, you'll notice that when you get into the weeks, there's also another button that appears, which is activities menu. That would take you to all of the different options for activities to follow up after the gospel lesson material. So when you click on these, it'll sort of bounce around all the different activities. But if you are getting lost, our recommendation would be to go home, go back to your 6 weeks, and then you can sort of choose which week to go into and go from there. So there are a number of pages which have overviews to do with different things. So this one's more of an overview of the Caritas work and acknowledgements. Justine's already covered the focus on hope and emergencies, sort of, and connecting into the Jubilee year. Those are sort of the main aspects of the themes. Anything else you want to talk about with the theme, Justine?
No, I think we've covered that pretty well.
Yeah. There's little blurbs on each of those themes for the week. And you can see how the gospel reading and the Caritas story connects really well to each of those. Here's that main menu that we talked about before. And then within the teacher guide, you've also got the resources overview, that visual launch pad that we talked about previously.
Can we just go back to the weekly focus?
Yeah.
So
Sure.
just to elaborate a little bit further, you'll notice on this weekly focus page that you'll see that there are little stones there. Those stones indicate the Caritas focus story. So whether or not we're looking at it before an emergency, during an emergency, the response that Caritas might be part of, as well as an after. And then thinking about that response, we may be looking at a development focus. We could be looking at a humanitarian focus, as well as in the last instance there, a community focus. So we're really looking at the different ways and different parts of the process that Caritas is working with our partners to bring hope. And that key idea, that question, that rhetorical question that we keep asking throughout this Lenten journey, are you ready? Kua rite koe. So really focusing on those elements as we journey together this Lent.
Okay. So we could literally spend hours going through this. We'll go really fast, right? So here's a nice way that you can understand how the resources and the elements can be used together. The curriculum connections, there's a lot of material in here. The first half, I guess we'd call it, is connecting into the AO9 that we talked about before with the touchstones. And you can see that, or maybe Justine, do you want to talk about the adaptation here?
Sure. So for each of the touchstones from year 1 through to year 13, we know that there's a phrase or a word that brings that year level learning to life. So for us, we have taken achievement objective 9 from Tō Tātou Whakapono, and we've added a context through the liturgical year for Lent. So you can see there are just slight tweaks to the way the AO has been worded, and these have been run through NCRS, and they've approved these reformatted achievement objectives. So if you're wanting to put those into your overviews or into your lesson plans, this is where you would go to put your achievement objective in place.
That's great. And then the second half has lots of specific achievement objectives that are found in each of the different phases of learning. So in most cases, we've got one particular phase of learning has all of the AOs across the different strands. And in some cases, I think for some of the later ones, there might be 2 different phases of learning on the one page, but you can find them there. I think right at the end of the curriculum connections is a little bit about how the achievement standards, which we focus on in one of our task sheets, how that sort of fits in as well. So we've really tried, as we do with all of our resources, to connect and keep CST central to the messaging and the learning. And so the 6 CST principles that we're looking at across the 6 weeks are sort of identified here and unpacked a little bit, but you'll see them sort of popping up as you go through each of the lessons. So we start with common good and human dignity, and we end up going right through to the likes of stewardship, promotion of peace, preferential option for the poor and vulnerable, and solidarity. Which I guess no surprises when we're thinking about emergencies and responding to those in need. Those ones sort of come through quite clearly. Right throughout the teacher guide and all the resources, you'll find lots of buttons and links, and they should take you straight to videos and different pages that you need to use. But we talked about the Caritas stories before and sort of covering different countries. This particular page here is, I guess, an overview of the 6 weeks, looking at the video stories that are captured, the Caritas video stories. And so maybe very quickly, we'll just talk about the different countries that we'll be focused on through the course of the 6 weeks. So the first video here is actually a bit of a summary of the Heoranga Turikura program and how we are involved in disaster risk reduction, DRR. So there's actually 7 countries that are very quickly shown, little snapshots there, 7 countries, mainly in the Pacific and parts of Southeast Asia. And then week 2, where are we off to, Justine?
We are going through to Tonga, so the beautiful kingdom of Tonga. And for this one, we are going to look at an after a view and understand. So following on from the volcanic eruption and tsunami, understanding what Caritas has been doing to support the redevelopment and the continual growth and setting up of the Tongan communities to be able to face challenges going forward.
That's right. And then week 3 and 4 they are focusing on the during the emergencies. So both of these are sort of conflict zones. Week 3 is looking at the Holy Land, and there are a couple of videos there, both from Caritas Jerusalem. And then week 4 is Ukraine. So we're looking at within Ukraine, there's 2 Caritas agencies, as well as some of the Caritas agencies on the border to Ukraine as well. So I think there's 5 videos part of week 4. Week 5, what are we covering there, Justine?
So for that one, we are looking at, again, an after focus, and we are going to, I'm just trying to remember where we're going. We're going to Syria.
Yeah, Syria, Turkey, and also is it Kenya? Kenya. And I think there's a few other ones there too.
So again, some videos that have been added to this to obviously bring the stories to life and for your students to be able to see what we're doing in that space.
That's it. And then the last one, week 6, is coming from Fiji. And this is a before, just like week 1 was a before. It's helping out communities before things go wrong. And so this is helping a community in Fiji. And all of those videos will really, as Justin say, bring the real world context to life for the student. We have these amazing gospel illustrations, which Fran Denton has illustrated. And each of these is showing a particular scene that has been chosen from that particular gospel reading. Which ones did you want to talk about, Justine? Which ones stand out for you?
I think they all stand out for me, which is the beautiful part of this. But I think the lovely thing is these images have the opportunity to get your students to start thinking about the gospel for that week And very importantly, they also have the opportunity, because they are black and white illustrations, that they'll be able to color those in or decorate in whatever means that you choose to use in that space. So you'll see that these illustrations are used throughout our resources, but also have the opportunity for your students to be able to use to bring those messages to life around the gospel.
That's right. And if you wanted particular pictures to print out, whether it's color or black and white, you can actually just click on, that's a big button, that whole page. It'll go to the gospel illustrations file, which will show you on the website a little bit later. And then we've got the action plan. So this is one of the posters that should be coming your way. I hope you might already have it. And the action plan has some really, really cool small tasks that students can do around these three great pillars of Lent, of course: almsgiving, fasting, and prayer. And so it might be similar to what you might have seen in the past, where we focus on a particular theme each week, as we've talked about before. But this particular action plan is unique in the sense that the particular aspect to the task will show one of those icons, be it prayer, fasting, or almsgiving. And as we've done, I think last year, we create a little piece which has create your own. If the tasks there are not quite what students want to do, they could come up with their own one and be creative. But that whole idea of the jigsaw, Justine, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so I think the idea with this was really about Lent as a time of piecing together different aspects of what we're called to do on our faith journey. So again, connecting into the prayer, the fasting, and the almsgiving. When you look very closely, you'll see each week has its own little jigsaw that has been created with different pieces, and they're all built together. And each week, again, connecting with the theme for that week, you will note that the different activities that have been assigned in that week should relate back to that theme. So, for instance, in week 1, when we're focusing on journey, we can then ask God for guidance on your personal journey. So that would be a prayer response. And another one could be around, if you're looking at almsgiving, the idea of giving, share a toy or game with someone. So they're quite simple, yet we believe powerful actions that from a year 0 through to a year 13 could easily be part of a Lenten journey process.
Completely. That's great. So that's all the sort of background information. Then from there, you start to move into the lessons and the activities that flow from those two. So maybe we'll just very quickly just show you how it's sort of laid out. You'll see this, but there's background information on the theme and also how it connects to the Catholic social teaching principle, and then sort of setting the scene before you come to do the gospel reading. There's an opening prayer. There's also a closing prayer that will come a little bit later too. There's a summary of the gospel reading. You'll see that illustration that we talked about before, that should be prominent there. And then there's the gospel reading. And there's different formats for this. Justine, do you want to talk about that?
So yeah, we've created so we've sharing the gospel story. One is using the liturgical book for young people. So we've got that as the basis for the young person. Michael is sharing that, and then we have the second gospel reading for our older students, and that is obviously the language there is a little bit more sophisticated, and potentially might be a slightly longer reading as well.
That's the one. And then flowing on from the gospel reading, there's a reflection, which is quite short, which also has reflective questions. And there's more sort of, I guess, prompts underneath each of the questions just to get people thinking. And the closing prayer that we talked about before. Then after the gospel reading and reflection and the questions, we then present that Caritas story that we talked about before. So these particular pages have, I guess, the text background to the story, so you can understand what it is and the students can understand what it is and how it connects to that CST principle. But then there will be also a link to the video. So when you click on that link, it'll actually go straight to the video and it can be watched that way. There are a lot more resources that can be used to back up the gospel reading as well at different levels. And so maybe we could talk about the leveling indicators as well here, Justine.
So across the board, you will notice that we have created scripture resources as well as activities that have been designed for different year levels. They are just an indication of where we think that level might sit, but feel free to obviously use those as you're way more aware of the level of your students and their interest levels, etc., what might work for that. But you can see we've got stuff from, again, littlies, year ones, all the way through to year 13. So just wanting to capture that, and potentially even for the videos for older students as DRSs or leaders in a school, you might even want to be able to use those in your prayer or reflection opportunities for staff meetings, just to on a weekly basis during Lent, to bring those messages to life for your teaching community.
Brilliant. Yeah, so this is the activities menu here. And as we said before, if you click on these particular buttons, it'll take you straight to that activity. So if we're looking at, let's say, Jubilee year, it goes straight to that particular activity. And of course, there's all the video links and things in there. And then if you want to go back to that same activity menu, click on this one, and then you're back there. So you can sort of jump between to choose which ones you want to use with your student. I wonder, Justine, did you want to talk about the steps of hope? Because that's the one activity which runs through each of the 6 weeks.
Yeah. So the steps of hope is an opportunity to almost undertake a Lenten journey with your students over the 6 weeks that we will be sharing Caritas stories with them. And you'll see that each week has got a different sort of focus for them. So in week 1, we start with this idea of journey, which is our weekly theme, but we're going to talk about step into the journey. And the activity there is they're going to create like a staircase, and they step into that journey. Then in week 2, they go into transforming steps. And just like a butterfly, metamorphosis occurs. You might be able to have that idea of transformation, and they'll have a little activity associated with that. Draw a butterfly, maybe draw a flower. So we're getting this idea of transformation happening. And each week through that process takes us on a different aspect of that journey. And we end on week 6, where they will have completed their sort of picture, their journey, and they will be doing a steps of unity in that last week.
That's great. And so I just wanted to show you something, because when you click on the buttons to bring up the resources here on the web page, it should open up a new tab like it did here for your teacher guide. And sometimes we find that the links don't always work, the navigation doesn't always work perfectly. So we encourage teachers to actually download the files to have them on your hard drive of your computer, and then you'll be 100% certain that everything should work. When you do that, we'll just show you one other way that you can navigate around the files. This here is in Adobe. So if you've got Adobe Reader or Acrobat or something, that's how you can view most of these files are PDFs. And so one thing you can do, if you click on, hold on, let's move this out of the way. This little button here is bookmarks. So if you click on bookmarks for the teacher guide, or I think the Stations of the Cross or the activity slides that we see later, it'll bring up this little tab here. And this is another way to go through the same process. So if you're looking for background information, you can click on any of these. whether it's the curriculum connections, the stories, what have you. If you want to go to week 4, click on week 4. It should take you to week 4. And then you can actually go straight to the scripture resources, the Caritas story, what have you. It's a way to navigate around without getting lost. So those are the bookmarks on the PDF, just to be aware of. We thought we'd just show you that. I reckon we should carry on for the next element. Should we do that, Justine?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a teacher guide. It's pretty substantial. It's very large. But remember, you can jump around and find things nice and easily. We've seen the resource overview. We've talked about the action plan, but the one thing we haven't talked about is the back of the action plan. So if we just go down to the back of this is what we say, bring the gospel to life. So Justine before talked about those illustrations are available in black and white. They are definitely in black and white on the back of the action plan. And these can be used for students to colour and to bring it to life. But not just colouring, obviously. There's a whole bunch of different suggested tasks there for students to bring the Gospels to life, whether it's, doing drama or prayer or sharing the ideas of the stories. It's a whole different array of things that the students can do to bring the gospel readings to life. Great. Well, let's move down. So you should be getting lots of copies of the Lent poster to display. You'll also be getting a number of action plans to display in classes or in the foyer of your school. There'll also be copies of the Caritas Challenge poster too. Maybe we'll talk about the Caritas Challenge maybe once we've covered all the Lent stuff. We talked about the achievement standard earlier, and that's the AES 90822 for Year 12s, looking at how contemporary social action is derived from ethical principles. And Caritas is quite often chosen as the example of that social action, living out Catholic social teaching. And so this particular resource here is a task sheet for Year 12s to complete their work, their analysis. And you'll find that it's basically a space for them to write in their answers for each of the questions. But what we've done is we've provided those video links within the pages, and they can easily just click on those, or of course go to the website to find those videos, those stories that they'll be referring to in their work. We get to the Stations of the Cross. Justine, I'll bring up, which one do you want me to bring up, juniors or seniors today?
Go with the first one you click on.
Oh, okay. Well, that's going to be seniors. Here we go. We'll go into this one. Do you want to talk about this?
Sure. So this year, or for 2025, we are again looking at that journey through the Stations of the Cross. And normally these are shared during Holy Week in terms of that journey coming to Good Friday. So this year, our Stations of the Cross, we have taken inspiration from the stained glass images at the Chapel of Our Lady of Compassion, and they were created by John Drawbridge. So we're very grateful for the use of those stained glass windows as our inspiration. And we also acknowledge as part of this Suzanne Aubert, who was who this where the stained glass images take place. So this year we've you can see that there'll be different videos. There's different links that you can go and have a look at the Chapel of Our Lady of Compassion. You can also go and find out more about Suzanne Aubert and her amazing life and story. And then we have got the different stations starting. Station 1 through to 14 are traditional Stations of the Cross. And you'll see there we've got our Te Reo Māori as well as our English. And then we have got a short little snippet of information there. For seniors, we have used Anne O'Connor, her resources, and it's really, they're quite powerful in terms of the way she's written the stations for each of these. And then if you have a look at that, we've got an opportunity to reflect. And we also are sharing a little bit of a Caritas story in each of these. So if you have a look at that picture, we're hoping that the picture prompts further reflection. And you can see here, this was a picture from a family eating food that was distributed in Ethiopia there. So it just gives us a sense of also how global our Caritas family is. There is a prayer associated with each one, and hopefully, yeah, it just kind of creates a very reflective and powerful way of journeying with Christ through those stations of the cross. The actual stations, the actual stained glass pictures are the images in the Chapel of Our Lady of Compassion. And one of our activities, I think it is in week 6, where we have unity. There's an opportunity for you to work with your class on an art project and create either your own class set of resources, or alternatively, you might like to create a school-wide resource for that. And so you, in respect to that, you might want to get on a bit earlier onto this one. But the resource is fully yeah, it's fully encouraging and gives you lots of different ways to engage with that.
There is definitely a lot there, isn't there, Justine? It can be
Yeah.
adapted in a number of different ways. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of different ways to bring to create your own stations of the cross.
Great. Thanks for that. And so there's one for seniors and one for juniors as well. That's great. Earlier we highlighted the gospel illustrations. We said if you click on that link, it'll bring up a file. This is the file we were talking about, this one here, the gospel illustrations. So you'll find all of the illustrations, both in color and black and white, are shown here. And there are full page ones, so you can choose which ones that you want to print or use. That's pretty straightforward, that one. This particular button will just bring up the back end of the action plan, which has that bring the gospel to life, if you need that. And then we've got this very exciting PowerPoint, don't we, Justine?
Yep. So if you haven't already, we'd really like to encourage you to hop on board and join this project, where we really want to showcase the different ways our Catholic schools throughout Aotearoa, New Zealand, are living out this message of restoring hope, of being compassion in action. So we've reached out to schools, we've asked them to send us through 3 or so pictures, and then we will share with you who that school is. So Michael's just going to click on there. So for instance, we're looking at St. Ignatius Catholic School in Auckland. And from there, they've then shared with us the different ways that they live out their school charism, how they bring that mission of Christ into their community. And so we've got some amazing stories and pictures coming through from our different schools. And we're hoping that this will serve as inspiration and a source of hope for all of us going forward in terms of understanding what we're already doing out there to be faithful witnesses of Christ in this world. So join us if you haven't already.
Definitely. And just with like Caritas Justice Chats, we find that it's so inspiring when everyone shares what they're doing and learn from each other. This is a great example of that. So definitely get involved and let us know what you're doing. Then we get to our lesson slides. And we, like we've done in previous years, we break this into 3 different level groups, I guess we'll call it. So we have the year 1 to 4 slides, the year 5 to 8, and then sort of the year 9 up to 13. And you'll find that the look of these is quite similar to what you see in the teacher guide. But these are designed for the students to see on, the screen in class or to see on their screens, because it is written for them to read, and in some cases see a little bit larger. Maybe some of the images are larger, and so this is the display slides, really, aren't they? So we have that same main menu that can take you to, you know, the week that you want to look at. And if we just go to week 3, for instance, impact. There is some of that background information is there, but the text is much larger, so students will be able to read it. The opening prayer and the closing prayer are really large, so everyone can definitely read those. I think it's the largest font that we have. And when you get to, again, the reading's very large with the image that can be seen. When you get to the scripture resources and the activity menu, only those that we've sort of deemed, you know, relevant for the year level of the slides will be shown. So whereas the teacher guide will have all of the year levels, the lesson slides will only have the ones that are relevant for that particular age group. In this case, there are 4 videos here that could be used as scripture resources to follow up from the gospel reading. And when we get to the activity menu, there's the Caritas story there. There's just 3 activities here that we've suggested might be really good. And again, the same sort of thing. If you click on the button there, it'll take you to that's the activity for the students to be able to read and do, and all the links should be all working again to bring up the videos and such. Anything you wanted to add about the teacher lesson slides?
No, I think you've hit the nail on the
Right.
head with all of that.
Cool. And so then if we keep cruising down, we get into the videos. So we've talked about the video summary already. This is just, it's the same thing, but it's just found on the website. So these are embedded on the website, but when you click on it, it'll bring up exactly the same video, which is coming from our Caritas YouTube channel, which is, I guess, another platform where you could be watching the videos from as well. But you'll notice that these ones are all placed in order. So starting at week 1, week 2, going through to week 3, and then flying all the way down to Fiji, the last one there, week 6, and then the Caritas Challenge promo at the bottom. Maybe it's worth talking about the Caritas Challenge here. The Caritas Challenge for 2025 links in very, very well with Lent, the focus of Lent being around that sort of emergency response. So we have a number of stories as case studies for the Caritas Challenge for each of the 4 themes. Maybe we could bring up the poster. I'll flick back to here. This is what the poster looks like for the Caritas Challenge. You can have this displayed around your school. Of course, if you've done it before or heard about it, we've got those 4 themes: live, move, stop, and sweat. And so each of these has a particular case study from somewhere in the world around emergency response. I think we're coming in from Ukraine for the Move It Challenge. We're coming in from Holy Land for Stop It. We're going all the way across to Cambodia for the Sweat It Challenge. And the Live It Challenge is coming from Tonga this year. And all of these lovely little faces within the letters on that front poster are people that have either done the Caritas Challenge in the past, they've conquered it, or people that have been supported through the Caritas Challenge previously. All of those faces are to do with the challenge. And I guess if we were saying, is there a theme for the Caritas Challenge? Maybe it's that little statement across the middle there of the poster. Choose your challenge in 2025. You can choose to do one of those challenges, or you can do a bit of a combination. It's really up to you and your school and your student as to what's going to work for you. But there's a lot of resources that you can find on the Caritas Challenge website, and you'll be able to get to those by clicking on many of these little thumbnails here, whether it's watching that promo video that we showed you the button for just before, whether it's using some of those Lent videos to do with emergency response, or if you need the forms, getting some activity ideas, or really understanding the basics of the Caritas Challenge, you can find all of that on the Caritas Challenge or through these buttons here. Anything else to add, Justin, about the Caritas Challenge?
Just do it. Choose your challenge and just do it. The amazing thing is that talk to other schools that may have run them previously, and share that wealth of knowledge and ideas that can come from there, and reach out to Michael and I, because we're always super keen to support you in any way. And you can make it as easy or as more intricate if you want. But it's an amazing opportunity of creating an authentic learning experience for your students, at a grassroots level of understanding that the real challenges that many of our communities that we support go through on a daily basis. So yeah, do it.
Get in there. Yeah, conquer the challenge. So if you haven't seen it before, at the very top of our website, we've got the education menu here. And so we're coming from the Lenten Schools page that we've been using today. But if you wanted to check out the Caritas Challenge or any of the events or, resources that we're producing, you can find all of them in this menu here, nice and easy. If you want to order any more resources, so, the pack that you're getting should have a number of posters, number of koha boxes, but if you need more, then just get in touch with Justine or myself, and we'll be more than happy to send more your way. And we really do appreciate you using the resources and supporting Caritas. We very much see it as schools and us working together. We're very much one united team. Yeah. Any final words from you, Justine?
Final words are just, wishing you all a very peaceful, holy Lenten season, where the ideas of restoring hope, being compassion and love in action are really embodied in your school community. And looking forward to hearing your stories, because we really also like to hear what you've done in these spaces. And our Caritas Aotearoa New Zealand education Facebook page is a wonderful platform for you to also share with our wider school community what you've been doing in your schools to promote the ideas of social justice, peace, and we look forward to journeying with you.
Completely. Yeah, so stay in touch and keep doing what you're doing. Hopefully this video has been useful just to unpack those resources. But yeah, get in touch if you've got any questions or if you want to share anything you've been doing. We'd love to hear it. Yeah, great. Oh, thank you very much for taking this time, and we'll see you again sometime. See you later. Bye-bye.
Cheers.